Let's celebrate episode 300 with Mike going long on an authoritarian regime and the Eurovision Song Contest. Hello and welcome to the EuroWhat, episode 300, dropping on May 12th, 2026. We are a pair of Americans trying to make sense of the Eurovision Song Contest. I'm Mike McComb, and I'm here with my co-host, Ben Smith. Hey, Ben.
Hola, Mike.
In this episode, we'll be talking about Spain's entrance into Eurovision. I did almost do the intro in Spanish. I was planning that, and then you dropped it on the last episode.
And then, surprise, Dutch.
It's like, oh, this is great. But in the back of my mind thinking, Ben stole my bit. But
sometimes this show has one brain cell.
Yes. But yes, I get to spare everyone my very elementary Spanish skills. So, but yeah, we made it to episode 300. Which is wild.
Yeah, like I don't think I pictured that number when we started on this journey.
No, not at all. Like the timing of these milestones has been really interesting. Like episode 100 was at the very end of 2020, and we were kind of embarking on, how is Eurovision going to work in a pandemic context?
Just at the end of 2020. I live in my house now.
Mm-hmm, yep. And then like episode 200, we were coming off of the highs of the 2023 contest. Like everything was like super bright and sunny and like very exciting.
And here we are now.
Yeah. The note that I have for episode 300 is whatever this is. So
I'm just picturing the sad trombone from The Price is Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So kind of a weird place to hit a milestone, but it's also weird that in 300 episodes, as far as I could tell, this is the first one where we have put Spain as the central focus. Like we mentioned Spain quite a bit, but like it's usually in the context of other more successful countries. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I can just go over a quick history of Spain at Eurovision. They debuted in 1961, and this year will be the first time in 65 years that Spain has said adios to the contest. Despite finishing last 5 times, 3 of those times being nil point. So, like, I mean, they are dedicated to the cause. Mm-hmm. In the semifinal era, starting in 2004, Spain has finished on the left side of the scoreboard 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. 3rd place in 2022 with Chanel and Slow Mo. And they got 10th place in 2012 and 2014. But other than that, they're like, and really overall, their record has been a very mixed bag. They got 3rd place in 1984. They had 4 second-place finishes, including 1973 with Eras 2. Everybody's favorite Spanish 100 bop. Julio Iglesias finished 4th in 1970 with the song Gwendolyn. One of the handful of artists that have kind of broken Eurovision containment, so congrats to him. Looking over the language of their entries, they've had 1 song that has been fully in English. That was their 2016 entry, Say Yay. They've had 7 hybrid entries, but everything else has been Spanish. Looking at their record in the ESC 250, Spain has had 37 of their entries appear on the countdown at some point. This ties with Sweden. For the
I was about to say this. I feel like they have very solid representation in the ESC 250.
Absolutely. Like they are one of the countries to watch in any given countdown to see like, oh, are they going to have the most entries this year? 6 of their songs have had 10 or more appearances. Eras 2, Bandido from 1990, Vuelve Conmigo, Quédate Conmigo. You have Conmigo in your title. It's a good chance. Dancing in the Rain, which was their 2014 entry, and Dime. which is the only one of this set that doesn't have a perfect record in the countdown of appearing each time it's been eligible.
That one surprises me because, like, it is a bop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it's one of the ones that gets kind of like, I feel like the Spanish fandom is very organized when it comes to the ESC 250. And I think this is one that just kind of is part of the rotation of, okay, we're going to focus on these 5 entries this year.
Yes.
And the general fandom will carry some of the other ones like Slow-Mo to the higher reaches of the countdown, but without too much extra help.
Mm-hmm.
So Spain, not exactly a powerhouse at the competition, and just kind of piecing together my own understanding of Spain in the 20th century. Like 20th century history is really kind of a weak spot in my knowledge base. Especially anything surrounding like World War I and World War II. It's just like, if it's not like on Jeopardy every other day, I'm not going to know about it.
Just like, just like World War II, the thing that just sort of like, well, it's May in American history class. Have fun, kids.
Yeah.
We're going to start talking about themes.
Yes. As broadly as possible, because we do not have enough time. From my general knowledge of what's going on, like there's the Spanish Civil War, which happens from 1936 to 39. And not really knowing where they are in terms of World War II, but knowing that like Francisco Franco was an authoritarian regime. But yeah, just like not really kind of connecting the dots with like Franco and just being like, well, he's a pretty bad guy. And how did Spain get into Eurovision? Like how did the EBU allow Spain to participate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really been an interesting lens, especially in the light of 2026 in general.
Where we are now.
Yeah. So Franco, he was a general in the Spanish Civil War, which is from 1936 to 39. He rose to the leadership position and just basically became like the supreme leader of Spain. His side of the war was supported by like Hitler and Mussolini. I wouldn't say that they were besties, but they shared like generally the same sort of fascist philosophies, even though their individual flavors of fascism were different. Let me send you a quote from part of the Wikipedia entry on this, just to kind of set the stage.
All right. Historians generally describe Francoist Spain as an authoritarian regime with fascist or para-fascist features, especially during the first phase called the First Francoism, which is characterized as semi-fascist or straightly fascist and totalitarian or quasi-totalitarian.
That's just a small sample of all of the hair splitting going into talking about like Francoism, European fascism. Like it's just like so many so many paragraphs where it's like, well, these political theorists describe fascism as this way, but this other theorist describes it this way. And this is why it doesn't quite match. And it's just like, oh man. So like they could not nail down a particular flavor of fascism for this. And it's just like, it doesn't matter if it's like Neapolitan, like it's still it's still ice cream,
Yeah.
So oh, goodness. But yeah, like I guess the general themes that could be pulled from like how the Franco regime was operating was that they rejected regional autonomy. They did not like liberal or social democracy or ideas to that effect. Free elections, no thank you. Socialist leanings, no thank you. Women's rights, including the right to vote, which women had prior to Francoism, not anymore. Anti-Semitism, doubling down on Spanish traditions, so like bullfighting and flamenco music and dance traditions were celebrated, but excluding other traditions such as any language that was not Castilian Spanish. So like the Catalan language, which would be the primary language in Catalonia, which is where Barcelona is located. Absolutely not. Pretty repressive. And it was a violent regime. Like that was one of the more disturbing charts that I found in my research, where it took me a while to parse how this table even operated. It was just it almost kind of looked like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire money tree, where it was just like 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, 1 million, 2 million. It's like, what is going on here? And like all of these different citations. And it's partly because there's no agreement on how many people were killed as a result of this regime, like directly, indirectly. And so it's just like estimates vary. It's just like, oh my God. So again, like even more hair splitting. And like as World War II is finishing up, Spain is officially neutral, like non-belligerent, but they're throwing their support, like informal support, behind the Axis powers. So Italy, Germany, Japan. As a result of this, Spain is not included in the Marshall Plan to help rebuild Europe. And it's a major financial struggle because they are also coming out of a civil war. They are also experiencing some of the effects of World War II on all of Europe. But Francoism is really focusing on being self-sustaining and kind of isolationist. Like they're not fully cutting themselves off from Europe, but they're trying to define themselves as not being of Europe. Like, no, we're our own thing.
Yeah. Like the description of Francoism that you had me read felt like, okay, and then what you suggest is like, okay, no, we're nationalist in a way. We're like, no, Spain for Spain. We're going to do it.
Yes. Effectively isolated, even though like they are like pretty connected within like the geography of Europe. The thing is, like, that's just not going to work in this economic climate. You have like the European Economic Community, which is the precursor to the EU, starting to form. There's no money coming in because they're not part of the Marshall Plan. And like, that's also like limiting like trade options for them. So this isn't quite working out for Spain, like both on a monetary sense and in like a political sense as well, because they're not allowed to join the UN when that's getting established. This starts to take a change as communications platforms start to develop. So in 1955, Spain's radio network joins the EBU. The EBU is just getting started. And it's like, okay, this is a way to at least be connected because like, regardless of what the economics of the situation are, it's just like, okay, we do need some like radio guidelines and technical support for all of the reasons that the EBU is being established. In 1960, Spain's TV network, TVE, they also join the EBU. Now, the thing that's interesting about this is basically state media. The radio station, that is the only station that is allowed to do anything related to news in Spain. The TV station, it's the only channel. Like it's not a case of just like, oh yeah, there's rival networks or anything. No. Like this is the one option.
This is Spain television. End of list.
There are laws on the books of being like, yeah, you cannot criticize the government, and a lot of like preemptive self-censoring going on. So like, do not rile up the government because you don't know what is going to happen, whether it is funding related or safety related. So it just sounds like an environment where it's like, if they tried to join the EBU today, in that case, it's just like, no.
No, your only public broadcaster is highly censored and state-run media. No, you can't. No.
I tried as best as I could to find any sort of mention of controversy about Spain joining the EBU, Spain participating in Eurovision for the first time. There was nothing. And I was kind of surprised about that at first, but then I was thinking, well, I guess thinking wasn't like the lens wasn't framed that way back in like 1960, 1961. I mean, I'm sure there were people who were critical of that decision, but it wasn't something that was going to be reported in the newspaper. Because again, this is like a light music competition between like participating countries to see like, oh, hey, can we do live broadcasts? Can we do color TV? That sort of thing. Spain debuts at the contest in 1961, and it goes fine. They finish middle of the table. For a debuting country at the contest during the jury era, that's actually pretty good. Usually that doesn't happen. Usually it's like, oh, you're new here? Last place. So
It's like 1 point.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that caught up with them in 1962. They finished in last place. They were tied with 3 other countries, Belgium, Netherlands, and Austria. And they all scored 0 points. Like that was the first time that has happened. And yeah, it won't be the last time. In 1964, that was the first time that there was a stage invader at the contest. Yeah, it was somebody who like got on stage after, I believe it was Switzerland who performed, and held up a banner that read boycott Franco and Salazar. So like boycott Spain, boycott Portugal. There are photos of the person holding the banner, but as far as I know, it wasn't actually broadcast. The invader got onto the stage and they immediately switched to a view of the scoreboard. I had no idea that this incident had even happened. And that's like, oh, 1964 for stage invader. That's interesting. And there's really only been a handful of times that there's been stage invaders, but congrats, Spain. You're the subject of the first one. So
Yeah, well, and like it's weird that there's like they're not like the last time that there's been a stage invader for Spain. I'll go Pecanito.
Mm-hmm. My theory on that one is just like, oh, you know, that stage invader actually kind of improved that performance. I did not really care for that song.
I would agree.
Yeah. To the point where I was watching it, it's just like, oh, I don't remember this from earlier videos, but an interesting element. And yeah, he blended in rather inconspicuously. 1965, they are part of another 4-way tie with 0 points. So, yeah, not a great record so far with Spain. And it's difficult to tell how much of this is like possibly politically oriented, how much of it is just a devaluation of the songs. Also, this is when they're experimenting with all sorts of jury methods. So it may just be like, oh, there aren't a lot of points to go around. Again, if there's a 4-way tie for 0 points, that's an indication that there's other stuff in play. Franco starts to recognize that Eurovision may be a soft power opportunity to maybe relaunch Spain in a more positive light. I mean, the regime has been less repressive in recent years. Tourism has been a viable industry for Spain. Like they were suffering some like other economic problems aside from like the isolationism and like just kind of the malaise of the 1960s. But tourism and like inviting people to Spain was just like, okay, this is something that we could make work. So there was a lot of consideration of like what they could do for the 1968 contest. This is the year that they send the song La 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 by Maisel. There's a dramatized mini-series about Spain and the 1968 contest called La Canción that I really want to watch and cannot find anywhere, even like through methods. And it's like, oh, come on. Could somebody in the US please get some distribution on that? Because it just looks really nice. Like they did a really good job of like attention to detail and in like the art direction of it. But also it's a really interesting story, like everything that's going on with the 1968 entry, because there were allegations of significant cheating that enabled Spain to win.
I had seen you post about this, and like I did like a search of like, okay, is there some place where I can use methods to rip this? And could not find anything.
Yeah. So, so this kind of dates back to 2008. There was a documentary produced called 1968, I Lived Through the Spanish May. Basically what the accusation was that there was vote trading happening with some of the broadcasters where Spain would agree to purchase programs from abroad in exchange for votes from their juries. This was also when Europe was trying to kind of standardize their television broadcasting standards. Like this is where PAL standard comes in. I won't get into the details of that. I know how boring it is, but I mean, like it was the standard that like Germany in particular was trying to push. And like if you look at the sequence of votings for the 1968 contest, it was Germany's points that put Spain over the top. So just a little suspect. But anyway, the allegation was that there was this vote swapping happening, which enabled Spain to win, even though they had no intention of airing any of the programs that they purchased or said that they were going to purchase. The allegations of this was coming from one of the commentators for Spain at Eurovision. And I mean, he was couching it in like, okay, these are rumors. This is what everybody was saying at the time. Like there wasn't any evidence presented that this was happening. And Maisel, like she was also commenting on this. She's like, no, like she denies having any part in that. But, and like, she actually thinks that this was kind of a hit piece on her, just because like, even though she won and like delivered a victory for Spain, she didn't enthusiastically accept like honors from Franco for it. Like she was going to be presented an award. They sent it to her parents' house instead because she was not going to go to any ceremony. And yeah, just kind of like the politics of like, oh, you didn't appear on this network's TV show, so now they're getting back at you. Like it's something like just grist for the gossip mill, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was also speculation that it could have been the network producing this documentary, La Sexta, trying to drum up publicity for Spain's entrant at Eurovision that year, which I have the video for their entry. So let me get that over to you so we can watch this and make comments.
Uh-oh. All right. Oh, this one. Oh, boy. What a treat. All right. I'm going to click in 3, 2, 1, click.
El chiqui chiqui is a reggaeton. It's in Argentina, Italiano reggaeton. If a chiqui chiqui to the little sister. It's a chiqui chiqui, she's gonna like a mister. Dancing with Alonso, dancing with Gasol. Dancing with your brothers all around the world.
Okay, we can stop.
Yeah, thank you. This is Eurovision parentheses derogatory. Like, this is what people who don't like Eurovision think Eurovision is.
Yeah. So like we watched a minute 20.
El chiqui chiqui is a reggaeton. It's in Argentina, Italiano reggaeton. If a chiqui chiqui to the little sister. It's a chiqui chiqui, she's gonna like a mister. Dancing with Alonso, dancing with Gasol. Dancing with your brothers.
Oh, 2008.
This was a character, Rodolfo. Let me get my.
Yeah, this is Rodolfo Chiquilicuatre.
Yes. And yeah, he's just kind of like a comedy character on this other network. Like this is not RTVE that had produced this initial entry. But yeah, he was like a character on like a late night show. And this was like an improv thing. It's like, oh, like a funny song. And then just like, oh, we'll submit it for the Eurovision
like
selection. And
an ironclad Eurovision strategy that always works at the contest.
Yeah. But it was just like, and like, they're going to open it up to MySpace voting and like all of this other stuff. And yeah, surprise, it wins. And yeah, even recorded a duet with Dustin the Turkey. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. But again, like Spain is a Big Five country, so they automatically get into the final. So there's like less risk involved, I guess. But
I guess.
Yeah. This one finished 16th. Yeah, so one of their better finishes in the
that's weirdly high.
Yeah. So this documentary, like, it was just like trying to drum up like Eurovision drama and just be like, oh yeah, and this is our guy. Vote for him on Saturday. So there's no definitive proof that there was cheating. 1968. A lot of grumbling about that, including from Cliff Richard, who, like, once this documentary came out, I think it was The Guardian had an article with him, like, talking about, like, oh, it'd be great if they, like, reconsidered the results.
Cliff Richard is 2008. Calm down.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, it is 40 years later.
It is 40 years later. Like, put that to bed.
Yeah. Spain wins in 1968. They get to host in 1969, which people have misgivings about because, again, like, it's still Franco who's in charge. And again, Eurovision is apolitical at this point. And I think more overtly apolitical in that they're not saying anything about anything. Unlike now where it's just like, oh, everybody's always asking them for a statement. So by avoiding being political, you end up being political, that sort of thing, where it's just like, oh, no, like politics were never part of the equation. I mean, that's how Spain got here. So, but there were broadcasters that did not want to participate. And 1969 was boycotted by ORF from Austria because of problems with the regime that was in charge of hosting this contest. So, interesting. Spain hosts in 1969. There is another four-way tie. This time it's at the top of the scoreboard. We've talked about this before. So yeah, but like the kind of reinvention of Spain seems to be working at the contest. Like they're getting good results. Like, I mean, they're back-to-back wins. Like that's like, even if it is under fishy circumstances, like it's still like they did it. Continued success in the early 70s. Like you've got Julio Iglesias, you've got Eris too. Like they're a presence at the contest. Franco dies in 1975. This is a major turning point for Spain. I guess to further illustrate like what kind of guy Franco was, Augusto Pinochet made his only state trip to Spain to go to the funeral because like he really admired Franco and his policies, and it was just like, hey, first time, long time, you know.
Big fan.
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah. The fandom is weird. I think that's what one of the things that we've learned from this podcast.
Yes.
But there wasn't really a clear transition of power at this point. The person that Franco had tapped to be his successor was assassinated, but then his other successor like didn't really have the gravitas to maintain power. So Spain kind of shifted back into kingdom mode after 1975. And then by the late 1970s, they had a new constitution in place that was restoring democracy and restoring Spain as a republic. This was a really slow process, but part of that was facilitated by a pact of forgiving where like the opposing sides, which kind of matched the opposing sides of the initial civil war that brought Franco to power. They were just like, okay, look, we can't keep dwelling in the past. We've got to like get past that so that we can like look at Spain in the future. And there's just always been this kind of specter of not going back to Francoism. I mean, it's been a very long road. I mean, there were coup attempts in the 80s to try to restore a Francoist style regime. But Spain was able to like hold on to like democratic values. They were eventually allowed into the European Economic Community in 1986. So 40-year anniversary for that. Pew, pew, pew. Yeah, and I think that has been kind of in the background of how Spain has been kind of approaching the world environment right now, trying to fend off far-right politics, policies, fascism. But like in terms of Eurovision, I still haven't figured out like why they're not successful at the scoreboard. My best guess at this point is that the songs are still, they're not really saying anything. Like it's like love songs, a lot of songs about grandmas, and like they're very sweet, very well performed, but like they're not saying something. Like there's not an extra oomph behind it.
Yeah, and like especially in the last few years, some entries accepted. There's like some general message behind it. Just thinking about like the code has like a lot going on underneath the hood.
Right. And it's also kind of getting into the language thing. I mean, like each area of Spain like has its own culture and has its own traditions. And even though it was like under this sort of forced unification during the Franco era, languages like Catalan has not appeared at Eurovision through Spain yet. Andorra has brought Catalan to the contest, but like even going back to 1968, Mizel was not the original artist selected to perform at Eurovision. It was another artist named Juan Manuel Serrat. He was selected. He was planning on going. He then sent a letter to Franco just being like, look, I want to sing this in Catalan, or at least partly in Catalan. And if you don't let me do that, I'm not going to Eurovision. They're just like, all right, well, we'll go to the next person in line. And that's how Mizel was selected. And I'm curious to see how Spain, if and when they return to the contest, how they might start exploring other traditions or other areas of music or pop, or I'm not sure what, but I feel like that there's more that they could be tapping into as potential contest entries that they just haven't done yet.
I think especially in recent years, what they have been doing with Benidorm has been good at sort of expanding that. We've had like something that is very flamenco that I thought was an excellent choice, even though it did not resonate with the voters.
Right.
But like I think as an artistic statement, knocked it out of the park.
I think that's another thing where it's just like, I think Spain is one of the countries where their music is appreciated after the fact, but that is very difficult to do at Eurovision, particularly if you're a Big Five country, because you're not necessarily going through the semifinal process. They've been including their performances in the semifinals the last few years, but it's still not the same thing where it's just like, if you have people just watching it on that Saturday night, like they don't have time to like sit with it, ruminate with it and be like, oh yeah, I do actually really like that one. It's like, nope, you've got this one. There are 23 other songs that are going to be performing after this one, and you need to make a decision right now whether or not you like it. And Spain's just taking the scenic route, I think. So yeah. And that doesn't work on the scoreboard, even though I think the fandom like strongly responds to Spain. But I wasn't really able to go beyond the initial question that I had in my research, just because it's like I can't like make heads or tails of like how Francoist Spain was able to join the EBU like without incident for the most part. I mean, even the Stage Invader, that was like 3 years after they had joined the contest. So, yeah. And just kind of thinking of it in terms of like why they're boycotting now. It's just like, no, like Spain has just been very sincere in their approach to like, no, this is a human rights thing. This is like just generally on progressive issues, just being very straightforward of being like, no, like we've been through this. This is like, we know what we're talking about. Like, we do not want to go back to any sort of system that would be like this.
It's like we lived through this in the 60s and 70s. We are serious about, we are not doing this again.
Yeah. That's just kind of where I've ended up with Spain so far. I mean, there are so many more issues to tackle with this. Like, I really want to get more into like how Spain like just isn't working on the scoreboard or like the content of their music, and also just going into the Benidorm piece of it, because like I think that there's a lot of room to explore there, because Benidorm was a thing before it was the Eurovision selection method. So I guess what I'm saying is, let's not wait until episode 600 to do our next episode about Spain.
We should keep them in the rotation.
Yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of the EuroWhat. Thanks for listening. The EuroWhat podcast is hosted by Mike McComb, that's me, and Ben Smith.
That's me. You can find our full archive of episodes on our website at EuroWhat.com. For our free newsletter and more info about the EuroWhat AV Club bonus podcast, check us out at patreon.com/EuroWhat.
So this week is Eurovision week. Maybe we should talk about the 2026 contest?
Maybe.
Yeah. So we'll be back next week to go over what happened in Vienna.